time. When the 119th Congress gavels in, it's the first order of business. Nothing can happen until a speaker is elected. And sitting here next to me from Capitol Hill is Congressman French Hill, Republican of Arkansas. You're shaking your head because nothing else can happen until a
Greta.
speaker is elected. So what do you know? What can you tell us about those from your party who are undecided? Thomas Massie is a hard no, but there are others in your party who are undecided.
Look, I think Mike Johnson's done a good job as Speaker. He was dealt a tough hand when members of the House decided to kick Kevin McCarthy out of the job. I thought Kevin McCarthy was doing a good job. I thought he was a very effective Speaker, and so it's put us on a course of not a orderly course of business. And as you say, we can't start our work for the American people without a Speaker. And that's why I will vote for Mike Johnson today. I'm proud of Mike Johnson's work. I think he brings the party actually together in the House. And while there's some people that still differ with how they might do something, it's important to take the big picture here, which is we have the House, we have the Senate, and President Trump's been reelected. And that's an opportunity for Republicans to demonstrate their priorities, how they can govern, and meet the campaign commitments that we made to the American people. That starts by electing a speaker, and that's why I believe Mike Johnson's the right choice. And I believe it's the right choice, too, for the Senate and for President Trump, so we can get our work started.
C-SPAN cameras will be in the chamber for that speaker vote. Normally, those cameras operated by the House of Representatives. We've been given permission to be there so that we can show our viewers how people are voting in different angles in the chamber. What's your prediction for how it unfolds today?
Well, look, it's my hope that 218 Republicans can support Mike Johnson for Speaker, and that it will be not as dramatic as it was when C-SPAN pioneered a new form of coverage in the House chamber during Kevin McCarthy's election. Because I think that's in the best interest of voters, our citizens at whole, and, as I say, getting our work started with the incoming Trump administration.
So do you think it goes more than one round?
Personally, I hope not. I have no reason to think that it would. I mean, I really think people over the weekend tried to reach that conclusion. I know President Trump was making phone calls to explain, in his view, as the incoming President of the United States, that he believes Mike Johnson's the best choice to be Speaker. It's the way to get, as I say, get our agenda started in the right way. And we can't begin hearings or oversight or introduce bills that will benefit the American people on all the above energy strategy or securing the border or tackling the budget deficit unless we can form Congress. And so that's why I'm, as I say, a supporter of Mike Johnson. I think he's been a consensus leader of the House for the last 15 or 16 months since he was elected in October of 2023.
There are news reports that the speaker's meeting behind closed doors with some of those holdouts this morning, trying to convince them, perhaps making concessions to them. Will the conference meet as a whole before the vote that takes place at noon Eastern time?
Only if the speaker believes that's necessary. So I would say if I were an aspiring journalist and I saw that the conference was not meeting before noon, that would be a good sign.
Okay. Well, we're hearing that. So that's an interesting insight for us. So you are going to be the chair of the House Financial Services Committee. Tell us about your agenda. What is your responsibility for that committee?
Right. I think people ought to recognize the House Financial Services Committee is the oversight function for the American citizens of the securities markets, the capital market system, venture capital, the banking system. And it's important for all of our families to recognize that we're the Access to Capital Committee. We try to provide affordable, abundant home mortgages for our families across the country. We try to tackle the housing affordability issue in our committee. We try to make sure our banks and our capital markets are safe and sound and secure for the American people, and that we preserve the United States as the most sophisticated, best, most liquid, most effective capital market in the world, because that's important to our well-being here in the United States from an economic point of view. My agenda is first to right-size the regulatory burden that I believe the Biden-Harris administration led with. I think we can have a safe, a sound, effective capital market system and banking system that offers investor and consumer protection, but does not so burdensome that we see greater consolidation in the industry, that we see companies not doing as well as they could, customers not getting the products and services that they should due to too much regulation. Secondly, I want to make sure that we have a market structure for digital assets. A lot of Americans are involved in following cryptocurrency, looking at innovation with blockchain for the future innovation on the web, Web3, by writing applications for blockchain. That includes digital payments, tokenized payments. We don't really cover that in existing law. So in this past Congress, the 118th Congress, we were able to draft legislation and pass it with bipartisan support for a tokenized payment, which we call a stable coin, a dollar-backed stable coin, and a new regulatory structure for digital assets. So access to capital, both in the banking system and capital formation, and creating a market structure for digital assets. These are important objectives.
Wall Street Journal recent headline says, cryptocurrency cheerleader French Hill wins top congressional finance post. Cryptocurrency cheerleader. Do you agree with that description?
I really don't, because I don't view it that way at all. First of all, I think people keep talking about cryptocurrencies like some of the meme coins that are out and about which don't have any real value to society, or they connect everything around digital assets with the formation of Bitcoin, for example. This is much broader. This is about the future not only of the web, but the future of peer-to-peer decentralized finance, which is writing applications on a blockchain operating system, which is no different than you have an iOS operating system in your iPhone if you have an iPhone, or you use Windows on your desktop. Blockchain is an operating system, and it's going to lower costs for consumers and for businesses. It's going to reduce fraud. It's going to make our system much more accurate financially. And in financial services, that's why I think it's important. An aspect of using blockchain is having a tokenized payment. And that's what people refer to as cryptocurrencies. And I think that sometimes the tail wags the dog in this debate. What I'm a cheerleader for is America leading the world in innovation and America leading the world in financial technology. We've done that for our whole existence. And Web3 and the use of blockchain, both in financial services and in other businesses, I think is critical for our economic and technology future. One quick point. People go, I don't even understand what blockchain is. Well, let me give you an example from outside the United States. Saudi Aramco, the biggest oil company, one of the biggest oil companies in the world in Saudi Arabia, has all their accounts receivable and all their accounts payable vendors on a blockchain to schedule payments and schedule receipt of supplies, right? And in that, they've shrunk their days receivable, money that they're owed, from 40 days to 15 days. So you see the effectiveness of using this new operating system, but we don't have a regulatory structure for innovation in that space. We made progress in this Congress, and I hope in this coming Congress, the 119th, we'll create a dollar-backed stable coin that'll benefit the United States internationally and domestically, and a regulatory structure.
It sounds like you believe cryptocurrency is here to stay, and respond to that. And also, should there be one cryptocurrency?
Yeah. So I believe blockchain innovation is here to stay, and the use of blockchain both in financial services and in other forms, and I think tokenizing assets is here to stay, and I see those experiments all over the country in business. I just gave you an example. I think we will set up a regulatory framework for a dollar-backed stable coin, and it wouldn't be issued by the government per se, it would be regulated by the government. So you could have a bank-issued dollar-backed stable coin, you could have a non-bank issued dollar-backed stable coin for use on their particular blockchain. So Saudi Arabia could have a dollar-backed stable coin they used in their economy for settling international transactions, for an example. So I don't see it as a one-size-fits-all solution, and I don't support a Federal Reserve central bank digital currency being issued by the federal government. I don't think that's the way to go. It's not needed in our very sophisticated, developed economy.
Well, Congressman French Hill, thank you very much
You
for
bet,
sitting
brother.
down
Great
and
to be with
talking
you.
to us here this morning on the opening day of the 119th Congress. C-SPAN cameras will be in your committee room when you're taking up those important issues, so we thank you very much.
My pleasure. Good to be with
Appreciate
you.
it.
Happy New Year.